One of the most common questions we get from new recruiters and experienced recruiters alike is which niche, which industry, which roles should I recruit for? Oftentimes people worry about going too broad and reaching out about too many roles. Other times people worry about going too narrow and not having enough roles to work on. And we've just seen so many people get paralyzed by this question of not knowing which niche to recruit within. Luckily, Flynt is a very powerful way to figure out really quickly and really powerfully the viability of a given niche or industry for your recruiting desk. And so one thing we recommend is a workflow, which I will share in just a moment here, is to create an AI agent with Flynt to search for roles in different industries just to see how many results that it pulls up for us. So as you can see here, I have my Flynt account pulled up and I'm going to create a new agent. Essentially what we are doing here is we are going to create an AI agent to do some research for us on what are the open roles in a specific industry or niche that we want to consider. So I'll just title this agent niche research and I'll click on next here. And we have a couple different options. There's a couple different directions you can go to test different niches. In general, two of the biggest ways to figure out a niche is you can niche down by job title or you can niche down by industry. And so for example, you can niche down by a job title, like let's say software engineering, right? So I want to recruit for only software engineers. And so I don't care whether it's a software engineer role at a bank or it's a software engineer role at a tech startup or a software engineer role at a hospital. Doesn't matter. All I do is talk to software engineers all day. That's one route you could go. A different route you could go is industry specific, right? So let's say I recruit only in healthcare and I recruit for nurses, nurse practitioners, physicians. That's my niche. Or the industry I choose is construction. So I recruit for construction project managers, construction workers, construction managers, all that kind of thing. And neither of these routes are necessarily better than the other. It really does come down to your familiarity with the industry and the roles and your comfort talking to these types of backgrounds, but also how big is the market, right? We want to make sure that we do have enough open roles for us to reach out to potential clients about every single day. But at the same time, we don't want our niche to be so big where there's really no way for us to make any meaningful progress in capturing any percentage of that market. And so with this Flynt agent we're creating here, we can really take one or two of those directions. We can go just by job title, where I type in just software engineer, or I type in just nurse practitioner, and then we can keep it broad. So give us all the nurse practitioner, all the software engineer roles in any industry across the world, right? To see this route, I recommend checking out some of our previous videos where we do demos, where we talk about doing just that, searching by job title. So for this video, I wanted to keep it a little bit different. Let's say you want to check out an industry, but you're not sure if there are enough roles for you to work on. And so what we can do is we can actually leave this job titles box blank and then only input something into the location filter and the industry filter, right? So let's say I am in California and I want to see, is there a lot of construction roles opening up? Let's take a look. So what we'll do is we'll type into the location box, California, and then we'll come into this industries and you can scroll through all these different industries to see whatever one makes the most sense for your business. But I will just type in construction and okay, so perfect. So we have construction, California. I want remote roles, hybrid, on-site, everything they got. And so I will click next and then I can set company size. And so for this one, again, you can do some research. You can run an agent with companies under 500 employees, companies under 10,000. I guess for this example, I'll keep it to, let's say 1,000. So what we're telling Flynt is show me all of the construction roles in California open in the past 24 hours at companies under 1,000 employees. I will say also to keep in mind if you're going by industry is as of right now, Flynt pulls most of its data from LinkedIn. And so for my given niche that I'm experimenting with, let's say construction for this case, are there a lot of roles posted on LinkedIn? Probably not a ton to be honest with you. But again, for demo's sake, I think this is totally fine for now, but just something to keep in the back of your mind when you're thinking about targeting. But I will say, okay, only give me roles at companies under 1,000 employees. I want to exclude contacts who Flynt has shown me in the past 3 months. That's just something we have built out so that you're not reaching out to the same company, the same people like every single week for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. And so you don't come across spammy. And then I do want to ban a couple of industries. And so you can feel free to again play with this one as well. Being that we are only looking for companies in the construction sector, it's not going to show us any other industries, so we don't have to worry about it. But if you have the industry tab pretty broad, you're looking for roles in a bunch of different industries, if you want to exclude any like staffing industry, recruiting industry, other industries, you have that option here on the banned industries box. Once we have that set, we will then come into people. And so just targeting the hiring managers. Again, we have other videos that go more in depth into each of these steps here. But what I'm going to ask Flynt to do is just generate suggestions for me with AI. So Flynt is going to say, okay, we're looking for all the roles in the construction space based on how big a company is. What would likely be a title of the hiring manager that we should reach out to? And so you see really quickly, it gave us a list of people who could be good fits for hiring managers for these construction roles, right? So we have CEO, co-founders, construction executive, contractor. For some of the bigger companies, we have VP VP of construction, director of construction, head of construction. But what I'm also going to do is turn on this let AI determine hiring managers filter. And because Flynt is going to pull up all these different construction roles for us, what I want it to do by turning on this toggle is to figure out, okay, for each individual open role, who would likely be a hiring manager at those companies? And then based on those titles, that is who it's going to search for. And so I will turn that toggle on. I will click next. I'll skip over the email campaign portion for now, and I will go ahead and execute this agent and tell it to get to work, tell it to get running for us. All right, so I'll scroll down here and I'll click save and run now. And now this agent is getting to work to search all of the construction roles in California at companies under 1,000 employees that we spoke about. And it is now going through each of these steps for us. And we'll check back here in a few minutes once it's done and we'll see the results.
A few moments later.
All right, so as we can see here, Flynt has completed our search for us. And let's take a look at the leads that it gave us. So what do we have here? Okay, yeah, not a ton of roles that are super construction focused. And you might be thinking, oh, did Flynt do something wrong here? Absolutely not. This is actually what is intended to do with our smart filters. And our smart filters are able to find out, okay, if there's not any leads that match our criteria, what little tweaks can we make to our search in order to increase the amount of leads that we're getting? And so what it did was, as we can see, since there are not a lot of construction roles here, what this is telling us is that there are not a lot of construction roles in California at companies under 1,000 employees in the past 24 hours on LinkedIn. And so this is really good data for us to have. Now we know this is too small. So what we'll need to do is go back to our agent, the niche research one, and make some edits, make some changes. And so what we can do is we can change up the geography. We can go US whole company. We can go whole country, United States. We can also add in specific job titles. We can change up the industries. But what Flynt essentially told us here is it did not have enough data to find jobs that really fit the criteria for us. So then what we can do here is just make tweaks, make changes, change up the job titles for us to figure out what do we need to do? What do we need to tell Flynt to get the results that we're looking for? And so we can, like I said, tweak job titles, locations, industries, even company size. We can add larger companies, lessen or shorten our contact exclusion window, or just find different titles for our hiring managers. So this is really good data for us to know. Now, I also wanted to show other examples of what some more broad or more narrow agent results could look like. So firstly, I wanted to share this sales leadership agent that I have. This is one of my highest performing agents. And if you look into each of my lead lists, what I'm looking for, I told it to find VP of sales, director of sales, sales manager roles for me. And that is exactly what I found. This is a example of a really high performing Flynt agent because all of the roles that it finds for us are exactly what I'm looking for. They are the sales and sales leadership roles. I told it to give me for only companies under 500 employees. So this is perfect. And you can also see that every day I'm getting just about 30 leads that meet all my criteria. So this is exactly what we're shooting for. On the flip side, there is another agent that I need to tweak. I need to work some improvements into, which is for product roles. So I set it to, I believe, look for only product roles in the USA at companies under 500 employees. And the roles are pretty accurate. Like we see product analyst, product manager, product planning. They are at smaller companies, right? They're in the US. This is good. But ideally, I want to get up to 30 leads a day per agent, right? And so now what I would need to do is go into this agent, my product agent, and then just make those same tweaks that I mentioned for the construction agent we had. In the job titles, I can add in a few new job titles. I can add in new locations. So maybe I'll add in Canada. Maybe I'll add in the UK. And all these tweaks are things that I can do to ensure that I am getting high quality leads. So these are leads that are exactly what I'm looking for, but also a high volume of leads. That is really what we are looking to do with this market research, right? We always need to be vigilant about, okay, what's my niche? What's my market? How many new roles are there in my given market that fit what I am looking for? So if you are feeling unsure about the size of your market or if your market even makes sense, what I would recommend is going into your Flynt account and trying out a bunch of different things. There's no harm in trying, right? Try different industries, try different job titles, try different company sizes, try different locations. As you tweak these filters and see the results and analyze what works, what doesn't work, you'll be able to get more high performing agents like that sales agent I showed you there. They'll provide you high quality targeted leads every single day. I hope that was helpful. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave a note for us down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.